Hello all you awesome humans, and today I am here with something exciting. Today I'm going to be doing my April TBR. I know I haven't even put up my March wrap-up yet, but it's not the end of March yet. But I'm super excited about getting my April TBR up because I'm going to be participating in the Magical Readathon hosted by Book Roast, and check out that cute thing right there. So basically, if you guys aren't familiar with the Magical Readathon, it is Harry Potter centric. It is surrounding taking the owls at Hogwarts. I'm going to link Book Roast channel down below in the announcement for the Magical Readathon. So if you've never participated before, I'm not going to mess anything up. Just go watch her video and you can see what it's all about. So basically there are 12 subjects, and for each subject there is a prompt, and you have to read a book for that prompt. You cannot double up. For this particular one, she actually even introduced careers, and for each career there's a set number of challenges that you have to meet in order to be able to go into that career. Well, I am just going to set a reading challenge for all 12 prompts, see how many I get to, and then that'll tell me what career I'm able to get into. I feel like that's better than aiming for something and not getting it and getting super upset about it, because that's how I am. So I do have 12 prompts here. I have 12 books. Most likely, because the month of April is a little bit busy for me, I will not be able to read all of them, especially since I only chose one graphic novel and the rest are full-length novels. But who knows, I may be able to get to them all. I read a ton of books in January, but since then it's been, you know, it's just how it goes. So let's just get right into it. I'm so excited. So for the first one, it's Ancient Ruins, and for this particular class, you have to read a retelling. So for this one, I chose A Curse and So Dark and Lonely by Brigid Kemmerer, or Kemmerer, words are hard. That name, I'm sorry I butchered it. But I was going to read that in the month of March, but surprise, spoiler, I didn't get to it. I had a very okay reading month in the month of March, and you'll see that in my wrap-up. But I decided to push this one to April for the Magical Readathon because I thought it was perfect. I had a fuzzy. Okay, for the second class, it is Arithmancy, and for this one, you had to read a book that was by 2 or more authors. And for this one, I chose S by J.J. Abrams and Doug Dorst, and I'm super excited about reading this one. This book is not only by 2 authors, but yes, and it's that J.J. Abrams, but it is a really cool format. So here is S. And I already popped this little thing open because when you first get it, when it's brand new, this is attached. And then it looks like this. So this is actually a book within a book. So it's called S, but it is Ship of Theseus, and it has a different author, but it's not the real book. So basically they're telling the story in the margins of another story. And throughout this, there's documents, and I'm doing a really bad job of showing this off, but like like cards that has writing on it, and I hope that's where that fell out of. But see all the margin documentation. So this book is just full of stuff within stuff within stuff. And again, this fell out too, so I have no idea where that goes. Let's just hope I can figure that out. So note to self, this is probably not one that you want to bring around with you, but that is S, and I'm super excited about reading that. I'm going to stick that right back in there. So the next one is Astronomy, and for this one you had to read a book with star in the title, and for this one I reached out to my new friend on BookTube, JT Feliciano. We did have a buddy read last month and the month before. I'm looking forward to see what we're reading in April. I don't know what we're reading yet, but for this one I had her choose one of her books for me, and I chose one book for her for this readathon. So she gave me a list, and I chose Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Blake. I think that's her name, Ashley H. Blake. If I don't have that name right, I'm sorry. I wrote it down and then I forgot to figure that out before I started filming. So I have no idea what that book's about, but I'm super excited to read it and tell her how I feel because I think that it's one of her favorite books. So the next one we have is Care of Magical Creatures, which you have to read a book with a land animal on the cover. And for this one, I chose The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. And for this one, I've wanted to read this book for a long time. I know it's a series of books. I have seen the TV adaptation, and I liked it. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I really liked it. I know the books, people really tend to love the books, and I really love the concept of dust and that whole magical world. So I can't wait to read. I might even read the entire Dust series. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait to read it. Okay, the next class is Charms, and for this one, it is the age line, and we had to read an adult novel or adult work piece of literature. For this one, I pulled from my fantasy jar that if you've seen other wrap-ups or my book videos that you know that I have a jar of fantasy books and I pick one out every month to read. I don't know anything going into them if I haven't read them before, but I'm going to be reading The Dragon Bone Chair by Tad Williams, and I don't know much about it. I'm in the middle of the book that I was supposed to be reading for this month, which is Legend by David Gemmell. And it's interesting. I don't know why it made a list of the fantasy books you just had to read yet, so maybe I'm missing something. But I'll go into that, more into that whenever I do my wrap up for the month of March. So now we have Defense Against the Dark Arts, but it's Reducto. So we are going to be reading a book that has a title that starts with R. So another spoiler, I still haven't got to Renegades by Marissa Meyer because fail. So it's giving me a really good opportunity to read Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I loved the Lunar Chronicles. I read every single one of those, including the one that's just following Queen Lavanna. So I am super surprised that I haven't picked this up yet. I think it's the sci-fi aspect of it. I don't read a ton of sci-fi, which I know that they really group sci-fi and fantasy in together a lot, but I really think that they're completely two separate categories. But we'll see. I hope I love it as much as the Lunar Chronicles, but it is on my TBR. I will definitely read it in the month of April because I want to slay the magical readathon. So when the newts come around, I have an open gambit of things I can read. So if you did not know, I did not mention this earlier, the owls that you take are going to determine the newts that you're allowed to take later on in the year. So like if I don't finish ancient runes during the owls, I can't do the ancient runes prompts for the newts, which I like my choices. For divination, the prompt is to read something set in the future. And for this, I'm excited because I chose a book that I've wanted to read for a really long time. It might have been on my TBR for March, but you guys are getting a good indication that I didn't do very well with my TBR for March. But this is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, and everyone and their brother knows what The Hunger Games is about. I don't really need to go into detail about it, but I haven't read the books, and I loved the words are hard. The movie adaptations. So I can't wait to read this one, and it will be one that I definitely try to get to. And it's really not that long, so it should be a super quick read for me. So now we have Herbology. Now, Herbology is one, I believe, that it has to have a plant on the cover. So I think I cheated a little one for this one. Yeah, let me grab the book. It's right here. So for this one, I chose a book called Sherwood by Megan Spooner, but there's leaves on here. So I'm super excited about this one. I know Megan Spooner wrote a book that looked very similar, the cover did. It was called, I believe, Hunted, but that was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and now we have Sherwood, and this is a Robin Hood retelling or something of that sort, but it follows a female protagonist that I believe is Marian. So I believe this is Maid Marian, and I think that Robin Hood is dead. So that's not a spoiler. That's just an assumption. I haven't read anything by Megan Spooner, but I'm excited. I know that people liked Hunted better than they're liking Sherwood, but I like to form my own opinions. So I'm super excited about getting to that one. So now we have History of Magic, and for History of Magic, you have to read a book that's more than 10 years old. This one was super easy for me because if you guys don't know, I am reading one month of the Sandman comics. And this will be the third month. So for this one, I will be reading Dream Country, which came out, I believe, in 1999. So that definitely is more than 10 years old. And it will be the third book in the Sandman graphic novel series by Neil Gaiman. Now, if you don't know what the Sandman is about, it basically follows the Sandman. In the very first one, the premise is that these people are trying to capture Death, but instead of capturing Death, they captured Death's brother, the Sandman, and you are following basically that whole, I mean, it jumps around. The first one you're following characters around that. I really can't give you anything because it'll be spoilers, but read it. It's great. So the next one is the one I'm probably the least excited about, and that is Muggle Studies. And for Muggle Studies, I have to read a contemporary, which I don't read a ton of. I really do stick to the fantasy genre. But like to push out of my boundaries. So I have two options for this. So if you guys let me know down below which one you think I should read, I'd be greatly appreciative. So the first one is The Hate List by Jennifer Brown, and I think that this is about a list that's made that someone wants to kill all of these people on this list. I think it might revolve around a shooting or a school shooting. I could be completely wrong, but I think that that's what it's about. And then the other one is A Man Called o.w.l by Frederick Bachman, and I own this book and I've wanted to read it, and everyone seems to really love Frederick Bachman's writing. So I have both of those as options. Let me know which one down below that you guys would want me to read. So the next one is potions, and for potions it's Next Ingredient, and that is a sequel. So they want you to read a sequel. So I set myself up for success here, guys. No. So the sequel that I chose is actually Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer, which means I have to read Renegades in order to finish this one. So it's really pushing me to start this I guess it's 2 books right now. There's a 3rd book coming out. So start this book series. But in order to get to the potions, which I really, really usually love the prompts for the potions, I have to read Renegades. So I'm definitely going to try to plan out my TBR. I've done the math, and I would have to read approximately 173 pages a day to finish every book on my TBR, which is doable considering the fact during the weekends I could read probably 300 to 500 to make up for some of the days that I don't read that much. But continuing on. So for the last one, I'm super excited. It is for Transfiguration. And for Transfiguration, you had to read a book with sprayed edges or red on the cover. Now, I chose a book with red on the cover. I'm going to put a picture right here because I don't currently own it, but I want to buy it. And it's actually a sequel as well. But it is Fire by Christian Cashore, and it is the sequel to The Graceling, which I'm currently reading right now. Now, Little Book Owl loves this book, and I really want to read it because I like a lot of the things that she reads, but I'm having to push myself through The Graceling. So this one actually might change if I don't end up loving the first book in the series. Let me know if you guys think that I should push through it and keep continuing if you think Fire is better than The Graceling. But I'm only about 150 pages into The Graceling, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so that is my TBR for the month of April. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to actually be participating this year, and I can't wait to vlog my reading journey. I'm Katt Dee, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that notification bell, and remember, I do lots of different content here. I have Name That Pop on Thursdays. You can win a pop every week. I have my Top 5 Fridays, and then a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So, like I said, make sure you comment on this video, give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe. Bye, guys.